Hi everyone, it's Daisy. Welcome to today's video. We are covering Sailor pen models and explaining the differences between the different Sailor pen models. Thank you, Ju for submitting this question and asking us to do a video explaining the differences between Sailor Pro Gear Slim and Sailor Pro Gear models. There are actually 4 main Sailor pen models that we look at very frequently. To break it down for you, Sailor's pens, there are 4 main models. And Sailor's pens kind of break up into 2 families. I'm going to be calling them families today, and I like to think of them as families. So there are there's the Pro Gear family, and then there is the 1911 families. Here on the left here, we have the Pro Gear family, and then here on the right, we have the 1911 family. So these all look really similar, and Sailor makes pens in all sorts of different colors, but most of the time the different colored pens are one of these 4 models, and it's 2 families. The Pro Gear models look like this. So they are a flat topped model, and on the flat top of the pen is the iconic Sailor Anchor logo on the finial. So this is one of the main features of the flat-topped Pro Gear family pens. And then within this family, there's a smaller version and a larger version, which we'll talk more about later. Then looking at the 1911s here, the 1911s are different from the Pro Gears on the bottom here, because the 1911 family of pens are these classical cigar-shaped pens like this. So they have a rounded cap finial and a rounded end finial here. We have the Pro Gear flat-topped Pro Gear family, and then the rounded cigar-shaped 1911 family. You can see here that the 4 models actually are a smaller Pro Gear family pen, a larger one, and then a smaller 1911 version and a larger 1911 version. The differences between these is that the smaller pens in the different families have a smaller 14 karat gold nib, and the larger pens in these families have a larger 21 karat nib. So let's take a look at the size differences between the nibs on these pens. I've uncapped these 2 Pro Gear. There's a Pro Gear, the smaller Pro Gear and the larger Pro Gear, and the smaller one is on the bottom here, and you can see because it has the smaller 14 karat gold nib, and then the larger one on the top here has the larger 21 karat gold nib. And you can find the same small 14 karat gold nib on the 1911 family and the same large 21 karat gold nib on the 1911 larger pen. Now let's talk about the actual names of these pens. Now that you know that there's a Pro Gear family and there's a 1911 family, the smaller pen in these Pro Gear families, the flat top version pens, is the Pro Gear Slim. And Pro Gear is actually short for professional gear. So there's the Pro Gear Slim, and then the larger version of the Pro Gears is the Pro Gear Standard. For the cigar-shaped pen here, these are the 1911 families. There's the smaller version is the 1911 Standard, and the larger version here is the 1911 Large. And sometimes for short, we call the 1911 Standard the 1911S, and the 1911 Large we'll call the 1911L. So you'll see that a lot on the websites. So those are the 4 main models. Now you might have some questions on the size differences of these pens and how they actually affect the pens and how they feel in your hand. So obviously with the different sizes, there are going from the Pro Gear Slim and the 1911S to the Pro Gear Standard and the 1911L, you're getting a slightly heavier pen, but the weight is not that different. We have a weight difference of approximately 17 grams to 21 grams for the small to the large pens, and that's kind of quite a small difference in the grand scheme of like fountain pen different weights. They're not made of metal, so the actual size difference doesn't yield that large of a difference that it's super perceivable when you're holding them to write with. The real size difference that actually you can feel is going to be the lengths of these pens. Here are the pens in actual length, in actual order of length. We have the ProGear Slim at 12.3 centimeters, then the ProGear at 12.8 centimeters, the 1911S at 13.5 centimeters, and the 1911L is the longest one at 14.07 centimeters. So they're all really, really close. When you hold them in hand, these like very, very minimal differences actually are perceivable, and they do affect how the pen will balance in your hand. So those are the main differences between the Sailor pen models. We have 4 main models and breaking up into 2 different families. I hope this video helped you kind of differentiate some of the different names that you see on Sailor pens. If you have any questions about like why somebody would choose a ProGear family versus a 1911 family, that really has a lot more to do with personal preference. Because of the rounded ends of the 1911 family of pens, you get a little bit of a longer pen, so that affects how the pen will balance in your hand. So that's a personal thing of like how the pen feels in your hand when you're writing it, and whether you like a slightly larger pen or longer pen, or if you prefer the shorter pen. Another deciding factor for some people is a lot of collectors will particularly seek out the flat-topped ProGears and ProGear Slims, and that's because it has this really, really characteristic Sailor ink or finial that is super iconic of all Sailor pens and just very eye-catching, versus the 1911s, which are cigar shaped and look more like, you know, they can be mistaken for any other Pilot pen or maybe a Mont Blanc or a Platinum pen. They're just a little bit less unique. So ProGear family is a little bit more unique in the world of fountain pens, and that's why you might choose a ProGear family pen over a 1911 pen. Then, of course, there's the differences between the 14 karat nib and the 21 karat nib as you're choosing between the smaller pens and the larger pens. And that will affect the softness of the writing and like the juiciness and wetness of the ink flow as you're writing as well. So that is about it for this video explaining the differences between the Sailor pen models. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this answered some questions you have about Sailor pen models. Let me know if I missed anything. There are other pen models, of course, but these are the 4 main ones that you'll see when you're shopping for a Sailor. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye!